And the next example, there are at the moment additional knights, so it might be called Carlsen endgame with knights. Or Nightmare for Davor Palo. Yeah, Magnus is still quite young here, Gausta 2004, and already shows his really fine feeling and intuition for these strategical endgames. Black to move. It is very important in this moment to act in the right way. A5. To weaken the dark squares and to break white's pawn formation. Now it's a very difficult decision. The computer likes b5 more, but okay, but it's not a very nice move, so we can understand Palo's decision. And now comes Magnus' real point. Knight c5. And this is probably what Palo had underestimated. Magnus wanted to trade down to a real Carlsen endgame without knights. Well, by exchanging knights. Okay, because if we take back, then I guess Palo had calculated this, and it is more or less completely equal. The tactics work for white. Okay, and this is Carlsen endgame is now would be a rook endgame, and rook endgame are always drawn as given by Golot in a double rook endgame. Okay, by Golot in Chess with Magazine. But knight c5 really stops this business and gives black the advantage. Okay, the bishop d3 is hanging, so Palo removes it, and now it's a completely different business as white cannot get rid of the c4 weakness anymore. Taking on a4 or improving the position first, and Magnus knows when to be greedy and when to improve the position. Taking here exchanges in a way the wrong pieces again, rook c1, and white would have good drawing chances in the resulting rook endgame, despite being a pawn down. But yeah, white is so active that it should be theoretically probably a draw. King d7 is much stronger to go into this Carlsen endgame. Yeah, black has a good bishop, more space, black's rooks can land here and white's rooks can't. White's bishop is not good, and black has a plan to land with the rooks there and or to advance the kingside pawns in the right way. Objectively, is most likely still drawn, but over the board, such positions are very, very difficult to defend, and such bad bishops are often a big liability in Carlsen endgames. And also in Carlsen's endgames, of course. Yeah, now the rook has landed. And in some ways, again, the principle of three weaknesses. Yeah, here g3 is favored by the computer, because after rook b1, black can advance here for free, because taking is, of course, obviously impossible. And black wins directly. So, yeah, Palo played rook c1 now and has just given this additional space-winning advance for free to Magnus Carlsen. Next, Magnus tries to provoke weaknesses on the king side and then moves with his remaining pawns forward. Taking the weak a4 pawn has no priority at all, of course. Rook a1 would win it just back, and it's better to provoke more weaknesses than to tie the defender down and then only to invade and then to take all of the weaknesses one after the other or something like that. A short description of Magnus' strategy. Now the pawns come to win more space. The rook comes. Taking the rook would lose. Yeah. And Magnus' king would invade. And then white's weaknesses would tell. So the black must stay, white must stay in a Carlsen endgame. Or maybe can go to some rook endings, but not to such a bishop endgame where the king can come. Okay, this just wins time on the clock. And now Magnus prepares this plan to bring the rook somewhere into the position via b8 or g8. And this is often also good when playing such a strategy. Often the opponent cannot continue to wait with, since this rook moves forever and does something. But here rook b1 should be played, definitely. g3 is the mistake. It plays on the wrong wing. Now more weaknesses appear on the king side, additionally to the a4 pawn. And this is a bad sign for white. This is another mistake because of bishop d7. And now it's really serious business. Principle of two weaknesses. And nothing works anymore. Black is winning now. The first weakness falls. And the pawns can roll. Of course, Magnus had to calculate that white's counterplay here is insufficient due to rook e5, and now the rook is a very strong defender against white's forces. And also attacker at the same time. And rook g5, the rook belongs behind the pass pawn. Bishop takes e6. Easiest probably for humans. If the bishop takes, then the g-pawn queens. And after king f1, this time the rook ending can be done, because this rook ending is finally won, of course. And maybe not even Magnus' fantastic technique is needed, so Davor Palo resigned the position. A powerful demonstration of his strategy. Again a textbook example for such Carlsen endgames, when the defender has a bad bishop, then moving around against the weaknesses to provoke further weakening of the opponent, and if not, then advance your pawns further to open roads and or win space. And Magnus was still quite young here, of course, in 2004. So a very remarkable technical achievement for such a young player.